Hello everyone, welcome back to another video. Today I'm doing a tips and tricks video on upholstery cleaning. So basically talk all the sort of new detailers through on my tips and tricks and any existing detailers, what I do, how I clean upholstery seats and how I remove stains from seats. So if you're new getting into this, obviously you'll come across customers, or you might have your own car with stained seats through drink spillages, and it could even be from opening the door when it's raining and the water sits on. That can cause stains. Anything like that will cause stains. So I basically want to talk you through my methods in how I remove stains from seats, what you need to do, what you need for it, and just talk you through, hopefully giving you a bit of an insight in the best way to clean upholstery seats. It's probably one of the most easiest processes in terms of detailing. Obviously detailing, there's loads of different skills and processes and what you need to do on different things, such as machine polishing and stuff like that. But I'd say upholstery cleaning, as long as you've got the right stuff, it's probably one of the most easiest things that you can do. So I'll show you some of these seats in a minute. I'm going to do my van, I'm going to do this car. I need to get it all hoovered out first, and I'll show you the seats with the condition that it is, and I'll talk to you through about the process that you're going to need to help you remove stains from seats. Obviously, ideally, to begin with, you're going to need fabric cleaner and a vacuum with a wet and dry function. Trying to clean seats without having a wet and dry vacuum is going to be a bit of a nightmare, because if you're spraying anything onto the seats and you're not using anything to extract that back through, you're going to cause further stains, and when it dries out, it's going to look worse than what it did when it started. So ideally, you need a wet and dry vacuum. I recommend the George. I've got the George, which I'll show you in a minute. That's probably the best vacuum you can use for detailing, and it's one of the most affordable. It's probably about £200 to £300, but they normally last between 2 and 3 years, so definitely one of the best investments you could make for the interior. And obviously you can use it dry as well, so if you're just hoovering out, it's got that function there as well for that. So yeah, that's probably one of the best investments for it. A George Hoover, that's what you're going to need for this, or any other wet and dry vacuum. But if you're going to spend the money, you might as well spend it on a George. Then you're going to need some fabric cleaner and some brushes, which I'll talk to you through in a minute. But what I'll do, I'll show you the condition of the seats, just so you're aware of what they're going to be like, and show you the process of it and see what they look like when they're dried off after. So let's crack on, I'll show you the seats now. Right, so this is the first interior. It's in this Vauxhall Corsa. So as you can see at the minute, the seats are badly stained. It's got loads of dog hair everywhere. There's some money there. Get on that, go towards a holiday when we're all allowed out. I mean, this is actually not a customer's car, so anyone in the comments, please don't stress that I'm taking customers' money, because I'm not. So it needs to remove all this mud. There's loads of dog hair. I just wanted to show you the condition of the seats to begin with, just so you can see what they look like and show you the stains. As you can see, it's not the colour it should be. There's loads of stains on there, there's loads of mud, there's dirt. And I basically want to talk to you through even the carpets, but we'll do carpets on another video. Basically just want to talk to you about fabrics to begin with. Cree, what's your seat like? So that as well, it's quite badly stained. They definitely need to clean. So
even that there, though.
Let's have a look. Yeah, that looks like a dog's been trying to jump through the middle to try and see the two people at the front. I wonder who that might be. So as you can see from that, these seats are pretty bad, they're pretty filthy. First steps you need to do in order to clean these seats and get them in the best condition possible is get the hoover out, start hoovering through all the dog hair, all the dirt, make sure everything is off, so then it gives you a better base to shampoo the seats. Because if you don't and there's dirt on there, you'll end up shampooing all the dirt around, and if it's anything like mud, you'll only be spreading that around when it's wet. So I'm going to get my hoover out, start hoovering down these seats, get all the dirt off, get all the dog hair off, and it'll give it the best place to start before you use the fabric cleaner. So I'm going to crack on with that now. I'll do a time lapse and then we'll crack on. So this is my George Hoover. I've currently just got the normal Hoover attachment with it. Like I said, this is the best investment. It's pretty battered, as you can see, but these do take a battering. So I've got that. In terms of using fabric cleaner, I haven't got any dedicated fabric cleaner on me today, partly because we've been out and about this morning and we used it up, and to be fair, I just haven't had time to go back to the unit and restock, but I'm going back there tomorrow. But one product I will use today on the seats is the Bilt Hamber Surfex HD. So obviously this is an all-purpose cleaner, and when I say all-purpose cleaner, it's literally that. You can use it for absolutely anything. If it's interior, exterior you need it for, you can use it. You can dilute it down to how you want, but I'll put some ratios in the comments down below just so you're aware, because you can use this as a pre-wash and you can use it for fabric, plastics, or whatever it may be. Like I said, it's not a dedicated fabric cleaner, so it hasn't got that strong fabric smell that's like some do, but it will do for today to show you the process of this video. But like I say, normally you want something dedicated for it. Some people like something with a bit more of a scent, so it's just personal preference really, but for today on mine in this car, we're not too bothered. And you need a bottle to dilute it down with, fill the rest with water, and then you're ready to go. To remove the dog hair, I'm just going to be using a normal dog hair brush. There's loads of different variants of dog hair brushes, but this is the one I'm going to be using today. So also what you'll need is one of the extraction hoses, which is like this here. So basically with this Hoover you can connect, it normally comes with a hose leading from there, this little tip here, to the tip in the front of the George. But what I like to do, because that's only one setting and it depends on the car, I like to obviously get a bottle all pre-diluted and then use it like that. So what I'll do, fill up a bottle of fabric cleaner, spray onto the seat first, and then I'll literally just use the Hoover just to extract the water and the dirt that's in the seats. But like I say, you can fill up a section in the George, which I'll put a photo up on the screen now. There's a compartment in there that you can pre-dilute with water and fabric cleaner, and then you can use the Hoover itself to spray out the water and the fabric cleaner onto the seats, scrub it from there, and then do it like that. But like I say, I don't really like doing it like that because you've only got one setting. I prefer using fabric cleaner diluted down in a spray bottle, spray onto the seats, and then just literally use this Hoover attachment just to suck it up. But like I say, if you want to, you can use it to jet out the water and extract it at the same time, but it's just personal preference really. I prefer using it from a bottle, and with the bottle you can change the nozzles to jet or wider lands to get more coverage. So that's the Hoover and the fabric cleaner. Let's crack on hoovering these seats, get them up to a reasonable enough standard, ready to shampoo. Right, so after all the seats have been hoovered, you're ready to shampoo them obviously. So like I say, you want to get all the dirt and all the dust and anything like that off the seats first before you go scrubbing them. So then you'll get on to brushes. What brushes do you need? What's the best one for different fabrics? So I tend to use mainly this one here, which is just a normal brush. It's not too aggressive. It's similar to the Vicam. And then obviously for softer fabrics I use, this is probably the only auto finesse thing I've got. You could just about see auto finesse on there, but that's an upholstery brush that probably I've had for about 3 years or so. And then obviously I've got the Vicam brush, which is good to stripe carpets as well. And then I've got the drill brush, which is for more savage vehicles, like the one that I've done yesterday, which I'll put up a photo of now, which obviously you can spray mainly for carpets, but you can use these for seats. So you basically just put this end on the drill. I'll link down in the comment below the eBay links where you can get these from, but that's quite aggressive as well, and obviously at speed that is going to be quite aggressive, so you'd only use that on certain fabrics. So obviously pick the brush that you want for different seats. It's good to have an option of brushes just so you've got that option there for different fabrics. It's good to use the softer ones on like Alcantara and suede, just so you can go softly. Fabrics like this, it's quite tough, it's quite firm, so using brushes a bit more stiffer bristles on it, it will be absolutely fine. Anyone tells you you can't use brushes like this on fabrics like this, tell them to do one, because you can. I don't care what people say, you can use these brushes. Because why else would people use things like this on seats as well, on some savage seats? But when it comes down to suede Alcantara, you do want to use something softer, a bit like this auto finesse brush, but you can get these brushes anywhere, to be fair. So I'll link some down below as well. But these are also good, like I say, for tougher stains, tougher fabrics that will withstand the bristles on this brush. But mainly using these thicker ones, these these tougher ones for fabrics, but these are also really good to stripe as well. So if you see stripes in carpets, this is what I'll probably use for that. And I've recently come into the Vikan range after watching Epic Car Show's videos of him using the brushes on wheels and arches and all them sort of bits. So I've decided to buy a few bits, both interior and exterior as well. So that's that. Get your brushes sorted. I spoke earlier that I've got the fabric cleaner. Like I said, I'm not going to use it from the George. I'm going to put it into a spray bottle and spray onto the seats rather than using the function on the George. Personally, I just find it's easier, it's quicker, and it provides a better result. It's a bit more efficient, and sometimes efficiency is key. So once you pick what brushes you want on the seats, then it's time to shampoo. So I'll get myself sorted and I'll talk you through the best way to shampoo seats. So what you want to do, obviously grab your fabric cleaner, adjust the nozzle to whatever setting you want. So this is a wider spray, and then you can also change it to a little bit more to get more coverage, and also like a jet, depending on what you want to do and how much water and fabric cleaner you want out. But I prefer just to stick it on the jet, which is like this. And then basically what you want to do, some cars, the centre consoles, you'll have loads of different functions like Porsches and stuff like that, or Range Rovers. Generally them sort of cars are going to have leather, so you're not too bothered about that. Obviously you wouldn't use this method on leather. This is for cloth upholstery only. But sometimes some cars, say if it's got BMW, or say if it's a Range Rover with cloth seats, you're probably never going to come across that, but you'll have loads of different dials and stuff like that. So ideally what you want to do, say if this is a car with loads of dials and stuff, literally, or even electric handbrake to be fair, put the cloth over it like so, and then when you're spraying like that, say if you've got a couple of cloths along here, it's not going into the electric handbrake or anything like that, or any of the radio dials or anything. So that's the best way. But this is only a Vauxhall, it's cheap and it's cheerful, so it's only got a normal handbrake, and that's about it. So the best thing in this car is probably that. But yeah, so you don't have to worry about that. So I'm literally just going to spray all over the seats like so. It doesn't matter how wet you get these seats, because at the end of the day you are extracting them, so it's just the drying time that might take a little bit longer, that's all. So cover the seats as much as possible, like so. I want to change that a little bit, so to change it, just literally little turn. Cover as much as you can. Sometimes I like to leave soak, so depending on what car and the condition. This is not too bad, like I've seen worse. It's good to get the sides of the seats from this side as well, so if you're doing that side you'd get this side, and doing this side you'd get that side of the seat, and same down there as well. So if you're doing the driver's seat, spray these bottom bits there, so you can get them, and if you're doing the passenger seat, do the same with this side. So that's always good to do. But like I say, if you've got any dials in between the seats, just make sure you cover them up. But literally just give it a good soak in. And like I said, it doesn't matter how much you spray on, as long as you extract up well and leave it to dry, then it'll be fine. But like I say, some cars you might need to use more, some cars you might need to use less. So I'm probably going to put a little bit more on this, but I'll show you some of the different brushes. So the soft one for these heavier stains, it's not going to do much. So you see there's a little bit of mud stains and stuff like that that are ingrained into the seat. The softer ones are good for the lighter stains, and it will provide good spread, to be fair, like so. And they are good for getting the edges of the seats. They get into all the places where you can't really with a stiff brush. You literally, different motions, trying to get as much as you can. And same with the tops, get the headrest as well. Where you're brushing or where you're moving the brush and it's showing up more than there, probably just means there's not as much product here, so obviously it's not foaming up as much, so you will see that a little bit. So like here, there's probably not as much as what there is there. So if this is an area that's filthy, just literally just grab your product, spray more on, and then you'll find when you're moving it around, obviously it's soaking up a bit more. You'll see that you're spreading around a lot more product. So say if like now, I've gone around this with the soft brush, and as you see there's still stains there. Once the foam was settled, you can see that there is still stains. So like I said, the soft brush is good for certain things, but they're not so good for the heavier and deeper stains. They'll do a good job to get even coverage. So if you've got some lighter stains, they'll be good for that. But what you're then going to need for something like this, so these stains here, you're going to need a tougher brush, and these are absolutely fine to use on the plastics. They're not too on the fabrics. They're not too aggressive. They'll be perfect for the job. So what you want to do, just remember where your areas where there are more stains, and when it's wet it will sort of highlight them as well. Grab the brush and basically just scrub. And what we'll do, we'll wait for this to settle a little bit, and we'll see what it dries out like. Obviously I still need to extract it, because otherwise your problem is you're just going to allow wet, dirty water into the seats, so you do need to extract it. But as you can see, now it's drying, apart from a little bit of dust there, you can't actually see the mud stains that were there. Some stains it might need a couple of goes, so after you've gone on it with a soft brush, sometimes if you're a bit worried about the different brushes, go around it with soft first, and if you find that it's taken out most of the stains, then great. But if not, that's when you need something a bit heavier, like something like this, and just test a little area first. When you're doing seats, test a little area first, make sure you got the fabric cleaner right for the seats, test a little area, extract it, see how it comes up, and go from there. Because the last thing you want to be using, you don't want to be using this on soft fabrics like velour or suede, alcantara, or anything like that. So test a little bit of area first if you are worried, just see how it comes up like, and go from there. And that's like anything with detailing really, just test a little area and see how it comes up. But as you can see now it's drying out. You now know when you're doing the seats, this one's probably going to be the best one for the heavier stains. Granted, the softer brush will be ideal for the other areas that are not heavily stained, but this is the one you're going to need. So what I'm going to do now I've found the correct brush for the fabric and the correct way to do it, I'm going to grab my extractor, extract all the water out, and try and get it as dry as possible, making sure that you leave no stains. If there are any stains, if you have gone over it once and you've extracted all the water out, and you do start to see stains starting to appear, just go over it again, go a little bit harder, and then just see how it comes up. Maybe put a little bit more fabric cleaner in, make it a bit stronger, and see how it goes. But like I say, test little bits of area first if you are worried. I'm quite experienced doing this, so I know exactly what I need to do. But if you are a little bit worried about putting more fabric cleaner into your solution, then just test a little area first just to make sure. But sometimes on some cars I do find that there are some heavier stains that just won't budge, and sometimes you just got to cut your losses with it, and just say, if you're doing it for a customer, you just got to let them know that, yeah, sometimes it will be a great job, and sometimes it will still leave a couple of stains here and there. It just depends what's spilt on it. Sometimes some people don't even know what's been spilt on it, so that's always hard to try and figure out exactly what you need to do to remove the stains. Anyway, I'm going to extract this seat, we'll see how it comes up like, and we'll see if there's any stains that need to be gone over again. Right, so that's the first seat done. As you can see, it's now stain free. Granted, so it needs to be left to dry. I'll talk to you a little bit more about the drying stages in a minute. I'm going to give it another quick hoover over just before we're done. It's definitely looking a lot better. So what I'm going to do now, I'm going to start this seat. I'm going to show you exactly the process of extracting it, just so you can see what that's like. Before I get on to extracting it, I thought I'd just show you all this one, because everyone's probably interested to see this one's really like. See if it actually does scratch or damage the fabric. So this is quite a tough fabric, it's quite a tough material. This will be absolutely fine to use in it. I'll show you it now just so you can see. And as you can see, there's no scratches, no damage to the fabric. I'm going to show you extracting the fabric cleaner out of the seats now. Fairly easy. Like I say, I use the bottle, so I haven't been using this to spray on. But in a normal case, say if you were using it from the George Hoover, you'd have a hose connected to here, which draws out the water, hold this down, and it'll basically spray it all over, and then you can use this to extract it up. But I just personally prefer using it from a bottle and doing it like that, really. But it's easy enough to extract the water back out of the seats. This is a really important step to do this properly and spend a bit longer doing it. So basically just hold it down, bit of pressure, and then you'll see all the dirty water coming up. So as you can see, it's like brown. It should be clear. So it might be a case of doing this a couple of times until everything you're extracting comes up clear. Because as you can see there, you can see where the dirt is from the water that it's extracting. So obviously go along, make sure that you're being obviously thorough where you're going, and overlap if needed. As slowly or as quick as you want. Sometimes the slower you go with a bit more pressure, it just works out a lot more easier, you get a lot more through it. It's actually, it's not too bad, it's not like it's coming out black. I have had some in the past where it's literally come out black. Obviously change direction if you need to. Say if you've got areas like this, sometimes you might need to change it up a bit. And as you see, there's quite a lot of fabric cleaner still in there, so you just go back over it. Like so. You start wherever. I normally start from the bottom and do the top, but sometimes you just start from the top, work your way down. I am doing this one-handed as well, by the way. Normally I do it with both hands. Basically the top's not too bad. It looks like it's pretty much clear water coming through there, which is a good sign. It means there's no dirt sitting in the seat fabric. So look, that's good to go. As long as you get all that water out, it'll be absolutely fine. So this is how simple upholstery cleaning is. It is one of the most simplest process of detailing. It is so easy to do. You just got to make sure you're thorough with it. Go over all these bits. To get these bits, I normally just do this. Hold it down for as long as you want with a bit of pressure and extract it all out. But what I'll do, I'm going to do this full seat, because as you can see, even though I've gone over this, there'll still be some liquid in there, so you want to make sure you get as much out possible. See, I've gone over this once already and there's still solution coming out of the seats. So go back over it 2-3 times, whatever you need to do to dry it out as much as possible. I'm going to do that now, and then I'll talk to you a little bit after. To the point where you want to get it to, you want to get it to so there's literally barely anything coming back through. Just go over it 2-3 times, just make sure as much of the water is out as possible. It's still going to leave it slightly damp, but as long as you've done what you can to be thorough, get as much of the solution as possible, then they'll dry out fine. So keep doing that until you're happy with it, and then they'll be ready to fully dry out. Right, so that's the seats all done. They're definitely looking a lot better. I'm not so much chasing perfection with this car, because like I say, it's not a customer's car. It's just something that I'm doing just to be able to do this video on. But the seats are looking loads better. You can't really see the back seats because it's getting quite dark, but they're definitely looking a lot better. So with the seats, as you can see, there's no stains remaining, but sometimes you will get the odd stain reappear depending on what's been spilt, but you will start noticing that once you have shampooed it. But it's definitely looking a lot better. I'll show you the other side now as well. So it's a lot better, it's a nicer place to be, and all the stains are now gone. So ideal. So basically, now what I want to do is just talk to you, give you a little summary of exactly what you need to do and the benefits of it and stuff like that. So this is probably one of the easiest things that you can do in the interior of a car, depending on how bad the car is and what colour the seats are and what the fabric is. It's a really simple thing to do. So if there's any sort of mobile valeters, or if there's anyone looking to start mobile valeting or detailing, this is probably one of them things that you could learn quite easily in your own car, family member's car, or your friend's car, or whatever it may be. It's a really simple thing to do. As you can see, it's easy enough. You just need the right equipment for it. I'll link down below any of the brushes that I've been using, the Hoover that I've been using, and the fabric cleaner that I've been using for this. But like I say, any fabric cleaner will do. Just dilute it down into a bottle. I prefer using a bottle and spraying on and scrubbing, then extracting out. Whilst we're talking about extracting out, and before I forget, so I would have said that you need to extract out as much as possible. So I've gone around the car. I normally go around it 3 times, just making sure all the water is out, but you'll still find that the seats are wet. So I'm rubbing my hand along this now and the seats are still slightly wet. It's like when you do your washing, no matter how many times you put it on a spin, it'll still come out slightly wet, hence why you leave it to dry. Same with the fabric seats. You would have extracted, the main foam, you would have extracted as much water out as possible, but the cloth fabric itself is still going to be a little bit wet. That's just natural. In the summer, you'll find that if you're doing interior and exterior and you're doing the interior first and you've shampooed the seats, by the time you finish the whole car outside as well, the seats will be dry. In the winter, like it is now, cold, it's wet, it's icy, and sometimes it's in freezing temperatures. This time of the year, doing upholstery cleaning can be an absolute nightmare. You'll do the seats, and sometimes, to be completely honest, it will take a couple of days to properly dry, especially if the customer is just leaving it with the windows up. I tend to say to customers, if you want the seats to be dry quicker, and if you've got the space to do it and the security to do it, leave the car running, even with the windows down slightly, just to air it all out a little bit. Leave the car running with the heaters on full blast and try and dry out the car as much as possible. Then once you've turned it off, leave the windows down a bit more, and then that'll just help fully air the car out. Or if they say parked on a busy road or parked in a built up area where they don't want to leave the car running, just leave the windows down, try and leave it in the direct sunlight just to try and help dry it out quicker. But this time of the year it will take a while to dry. It's just this time of the year, there's so much moisture in the air, it's cold, it's not the warmest. Well, that's just winter, it's not warm, it's not going to be warm whatsoever. So having your it's like when you do your washing and you hang it up without no heating. If you're not heating your house up, it's going to take longer for the washing to dry. Without warming the car up inside, it's going to take longer for the seats to dry. So that's my biggest tip. If you're doing it for a customer, you need to make sure that they're drying it properly, because what you'll find, and I've had issues in the past where I've just forgot to tell customers, look, air it out, put the windows up, put the windows down and leave the heaters on, and it'll dry out. There's been occasions over the last couple of years, one recently actually, for a regular customer of mine, because it's been locked down, they haven't actually been using their car, and I shampooed the seats, they've left it for 2 weeks, and then they've gone in it this week, gone to go drive it, and they found that they've starting to pick up. So yeah, that's as much as my, because I'd never said to him about leaving it to dry out. I just completely forgot, to be honest. But please do make sure that you speak to your customers, make sure they dry out the car, because sometimes it does slip your mind to say anything, but you do need to make sure that they're leaving their cars to dry. You don't really want to be doing upholstery cleaning this time of the year, last thing of the day. You ideally want to do it the first thing of the day, just so it's done and it gives it enough time to dry out. But please do make sure that you do give enough time for it to dry, and do make sure you get up as much water as possible from the cloth, because the last thing you want is loads of water sat in the foam in the fabric, because it's just going to cause more stains, and that's where you will get smells. And you do want to use an extractor, because if you do just soak it and scrub it and use a cloth, like I say, the water's just going to sit in there, it's going to cause loads of stains, and that's when you get the smells. This time of the year, like this situation that I've had recently, if you do leave it and the customer's not using the car whatsoever and the windows are up and there's loads of moisture building up, obviously you're going to get mold, and that's where you start to get smells, and it just does it, and it does get a bit nasty. So, and I've had that, there's been a couple of occasions where that has happened to me over the last couple of years since doing it. You just sometimes, if the car's not being used, there's even times where cars just been set up for a year, and I'll see if I can dig out some photos where I've had cars that have just been set up that have got a load of mold. Granted, it won't get to that extent, because obviously people do use their cars quite regularly, but it's only if your car's not being used at all, obviously you're going to end up getting mold problems. But yeah, so that's the biggest thing. Do make sure that you leave these cars to dry out. Get your customers to warm it up, or if you're doing it for yourself, warm up the engine, warm up the car, turn the heaters on. Then if you're doing the outside, by the time you've done the outside washing, you can turn the engine off, and chances are the seats will be dry. It's just this time of the year. In the summer, they'll be dry by the time that you're done, and they'll be dry so quick that sometimes you'll end up putting more stains in it than what you're getting out, because it dries quicker than what you're getting around it. So there's always that to note. Sometimes, like I say, because naturally when things are wet, it will cover some areas, so when it is dry, some stains will reappear. If you've done what you can with it, the chances are them stains are just embedded in the fabric, and there's nothing you can do. But normally 90% of the time you'll be able to get 90% of the time you will be able to get 90% of the stains out. So, or 90% of the time you will be able to get the stains out. So just depends on how the car's been treated and what the fabric is. With Alcantara and suede, be a little bit more careful on. You don't want to soak them, and you will be really careful hoovering them, because they can cause marks. In terms of, say if you're offering this as a bit of a side income to your mobile valeting business, it is quite a good side income to do. If it's something that you're not offering, you do need to offer it to get that perfect result in some customers' cars. Sometimes the customers do need their seats shampooed and it does get a better result. Normally you can charge about £40 plus for upholstery cleaning, depending on how long it takes, depends on the fabric, depends on the colour, because that will change your process on cleaning the seats, which will then obviously, say if you're spending longer on it, you're going to charge more. But say if you're doing £40 for 5 seats in a normal car like this, and you do 4 of them a day, you're laughing really. That'd be a nice easy day. Obviously, granted, you're not going to be doing that, but you get what I mean. It's a nice little side income. And say if you're doing a £60 full valet, and then you add on £40 to the seats, and you've got yourself a nice £100. If you do 2 of them a day, it's a good little earner. And it does get better results. What I suggest, just practice on a few cars to begin with if you're quite new to it, but it's a really simple process. It's not really something that I massively need to go into massive detail doing tips and tricks on, because a lot of mobile valeters will know exactly what they're doing. This is probably mainly for the people that are just new getting into it. But George Hoover, a couple of decent brushes, some soft ones for the softer fabrics and some stiffer ones for these fabrics that can take a bit of a beating, and then jobs are good. And really dry it out as much as you can, and then you're pretty much good to go. I think that's all I needed to cover really. I'll get onto carpets and stuff like that in another future video, because that is a different ball game, especially with these cheap crap carpets that some sort of manufacturers do. And then I'll just do loads of different tips and tricks as the time comes. I was going to do my van, but I'm not actually going to bother now, because I do want to make something else out of these whole tips and tricks in the future, which I'll talk about in the next couple of months or so. There's something else that I'm looking at doing which will benefit most of you. I've been keep saying that, but yeah, it is coming. I'm just just planning it all now, so I don't want to say too much and give away too much of my tips and tricks, because like I say, there will be something else coming soon in the near future. But we'll just see what COVID says, see what the boss man says, old Boris, and then we'll go from there. But I hope it's given some of you a bit of an insight into how to clean upholstery. It's a really easy thing to do. Get practicing on your cars, get practicing on your family or friends' cars, and then you'll soon find that it'd be a good little side income to add to your business. Or if it's just something that you wanted to see how to do it, then hopefully this video has been a bit of an insight to that. So I hope you have enjoyed that. I know a lot of you do like the tips and tricks videos, and there will be more to come. It's just getting the time to do it at the minute. But obviously, please do make sure that you like this video. Please do subscribe to the channel and turn the notifications on to be one of the first to hear about the new uploads. Follow all the social medias linked below, so that'd be my personal page, my business page, and my Facebook and stuff like that. So please do make sure you go follow us on Instagram. But yeah, hope you enjoyed this video, and I'll see you guys and girls on the next video. But I hope you have enjoyed this video, and I hope to see you all again very soon. Ciao for now.